Hey guys, ViscoseComb24 here, and welcome to the tutorial and explanation video for this right here. It is my super compact 9x9 cave door that I made a showcase video on about a week ago. For those of you who didn't see it, here's the closing. It takes a little while, but I think it's relatively fast considering the layout I used. When I go to the back side, you can see it looks the exact same as the front, and when I go back on over to the front side and flick the lever again, you can see it will all open as well. The opening takes considerably longer than the closing, but I think it's relatively fast considering the fact that I had to use entities on the sides, and the cooldown from pressure plates is rather long. This door is 15 blocks wide, 15 blocks deep, and 24 blocks tall. So it has a volume of 5,400 blocks. This is the smallest I've ever been able to make, and I'm pretty proud of this, how it turned out. I'm recording this after making the tutorial, and as it stands, the tutorial is currently about an hour and 50 minutes long. It might be longer after I add this in. So I apologize for how long it's taken, and how long it will take for you to watch, but in order for me to explain all the little bits that I wanted to, I had to take a bit more time than just throwing everything together. So I apologize for that. Also, something that I didn't mention during the recording, because I hadn't tried uploading it yet, was that this is going to have to be uploaded in multiple parts. I don't know quite how many just yet, but the video comes in at a whopping 8 gigabytes when put together. So with my phone and Chromebook being unable to upload all that at once, I'm going to have to do it in parts. I'm thinking maybe 3 or 4. So yeah, they'll be uploaded around about the same time, so hopefully this isn't too much of a nuisance. And yeah, with all that out of the way, I guess we should get into the tutorial. So to get started, place down a block and then put 4 blocks to either side. Start with your obsidian, put 1 there and there, then 6 and then 9 blocks, just like so. 7 obsidian, and then mostly mirror it to this side. Start off with 2, 4, but then leave a bit of a dent right there. Place in your 3 obsidian, and then you can place in the other 4, just like so. Break out those 3 blocks, put a temporary block right there, and then have 3 sticky pistons facing up, 2 redstone blocks, and then a sticky piston facing in. Break out that temporary block. And now mirror the rest of the obsidian layout to the backside. So 4, 2, and then 5 obsidian. 4, 2, and another 5 obsidian. These 2 blocks will be your quintuple. Place 4 slime in a square pattern underneath. 4 temporary blocks, and then 4 sticky pistons facing up with a 5th right there. Break out those 3 temporary blocks. Now place 5 temporary blocks down here, just like so. Place in your 4 quads, just like so, and then you can break out these temporary blocks. 3 from the bottom of the quads, place 2 temporary blocks, just like so. Put in your inner double piston extender and then your triples, just like so. Break out your temporary blocks. Then 2 temporary blocks, 3 from the bottom of the triples, and then your double piston extenders, just like so. You can break out those temporary blocks. Now place 9 slime, 2, 1, 2, 1. And then put blocks on all of the slime. Now to get in your floor flattening, place a piston right there, then a piston down there, and 2 terracotta blocks. It looks a bit weird, but I'll explain why later. Then you can cover up that. Place in 7 pistons facing up here, just like so. Then 2 sticky pistons. You can cover up all of that. Then place 2 pistons facing up there and there. Fill in the rest of your flooring now. And then put a sticky piston facing up in the corners. Now you can mirror this all to the other side. You can put in your double, then your triples. 2 temporary blocks, 3 from the bottom of both triples, and then you can put in your doubles. Break out your temporary blocks. There we go. 9 slime. Blocks on that. 2, 1, 2, 1, and then cover it up. Go over here, put a normal piston facing up there and there, and then a total of 3 terracotta blocks. Again, looks weird, but I'll explain why later. Cover it up. 7 pistons facing up, and then 2 sticky pistons. Cover it up, then 2 normal pistons facing up there and there. You can put your sticky pistons facing up in the corners, and then you can fill in your flooring, just like so. And once that's done, that is actually the entire layout for your bottom done, and you're ready to start wiring. So now to get started on this door, on the wiring, find the middle front block. You can break it out to position yourself, and then go down to the layer where the quads end. So as you can see, where the 2 lines meet up, this is your input block. You can replace the flooring. Put a block there, and then a short torch tower up to the roof of sorts of the bottom wiring. Then put some torches, there we go, just like so. Flick it to on. This will put your door in its open state. Then go over here, put a block down, quickly break that out, dust, block up and down, then a 1-tick repeater. Then you can take an observer, put 1 there, and then 3 more just like so. Put dust there, then a 1-tick repeater facing into a block there. This will activate those 2 pistons. Now the way that I've managed to get power to the back extenders and the sides is a little bit sloppy. I used a massive chain of redstone blocks and sticky pistons. This was the only real way that I could get it to work, and unfortunately it doesn't look the best, but again, it was the best thing I could come up with for this. So put 2, then turn at your corner and continue this until you get to the back of the door. There we are. Get out a piston facing towards the front of the door, a torch, and then a pulse extender just like so. This pulse extender looks like overkill, and normally it would be, but I've incorporated a little bit of the side retraction into the bottom, and because of the cooldown of the pressure plates, I need this to deactivate really late in order for the sides to be able to catch up. Now just mirror this to the other side. There we are. Piston facing towards the front of the door, torch, and then your pulse extender on top. Just like so. Now once you have that, go back on over to the front, put a block up, down, and up, 2 4-tick repeaters, and then a pulse extender down here. You need to make this block here glass so that it doesn't power this piston, and then put 3 dust and your 2 comparators. Now mirror this to the other side. Up, down, and up. Your 2 4-ticks, and then your pulse extender. Again, with this corner block being glass, and there you go. Now, once you have that, you can start wiring up these extenders here. Block down, up, 3 down, and then a block up next to that piston. 4-tick repeater and a 1-tick, dust, and then your 2 observers, up and in. 3-tick repeater, block, 2 dust, 2 glass, 2 dust, then a block up, or an observer facing up and in. 1-tick repeater, and then dust, 2 blocks, 3 obsidian, or 2 obsidian. Then put a block up, down, and up. 1-tick repeater, and then a 4-tick repeater. Dust there. Go over here, put a torch, block down, then a temporary block here, and now we're just going to add in the hopper pulse extender. I'll explain what it's used for later, but it is sort of smushed in here. So put a hopper facing into that block, break it out, crouch, and then a hopper facing into the first hopper. There we are, just like so. This is used for the floor flattening later, and I'll explain where it comes into play. 4-tick repeater, crouch, and then another 4-tick repeater. Observer facing up into dust, then break out that and have 2 observers facing up into a block, and then you can replace your sticky piston. Just like so. Go over here, place 3 blocks, dust, 4-tick repeater, observer facing up and in, block, 1-tick repeater, then an observer facing into a 1-tick repeater. Once you have that, when you give your lever a flick, you should see I appear to have forgotten. Ah, yes, the dust. There we are. Now you can see that you have your double and your triple extending. And when you flick it once more, after the big cool down from the pulse extender, you can see that they will both retract. And you'll get part of the floor flattening. The floor flattening for this one is handled by the other side, which I will now get onto. Block down, up, and then 3 down, running to a block up, 1-tick repeater and a 4-tick dust, and then block up, down, up, 1-tick repeater, then you can just place in this 4-tick now. A block right there, observer facing up and in, then an observer facing up and in, 3-tick repeater and a 1-tick, then dust there and there, 2 blocks, 2 obsidian, then get out glass, place 3 dust, 2 glass, 2 dust, and I'm going to quickly fix this side. There we are. And then place 3 blocks, dust, 4-tick repeater, then an observer facing up and in, block, 1-tick repeater, and then an observer, 1-tick repeater. And actually you can place blocks on top of those observers. This will be used later on to power your corner pistons, as you can see. But that's part of the side wiring, so I'll show you that later. When you flick your lever, you should see, I appear to have forgotten, the dust again. Alright. Now you can see both sides are extending. And when you flick it once more, you'll almost have both retracting, but I forgot to get in the final retraction for the triples on this side. So go down here, torch, and then I guess crouch, place in your 2 blocks, 2 4-tick repeaters, no weird hopper bit on this side, then observer facing up into dust, break out those blocks, 2 observers facing up into a block, and then your sticky piston can be replaced. And now you should see both sides are extending, and when you flick it once more, both sides will retract, and you'll get the full floor flattening. Now on to your quads. I'm going to start on this side. Place a sticky piston, redstone block, temporary block, sticky piston, redstone block, then an observer facing up and 2 in, 4-tick repeater, block, 2-tick, dust, and then a block, observer facing in and up and in, 4-tick repeater and a 2-tick, then dust there and there, block, 3 obsidian, then put 2 blocks, dust on both of them, 2 glass, dust on both of those, go down here, place a block up, 2 down, 2 dust, and then a 1-tick repeater, block, and then a dust to connect that line, then a glass block right there with a 1-tick repeater on it, just like so. The reason that this is a 1-tick, it would normally be 4, and this would have to have a lot of ticks added, is because the input delay running into the sides here, this is the reason for the input delay, allows for this chain to retract before this all gets activated, meaning this piston activates this piston, which activates that one, before any of this starts, allowing me to set that to just 1 tick, and it helps the extension look a little bit smoother. And once you've got that done, you can just mirror this, mostly mirror it to the other side. There's one thing that's going to be different here. Sticky piston, redstone block, temporary block, but this time 2 sticky pistons, and then your redstone blocks in front of them. And I appear to have misplaced the hoppers. How unfortunate. Well, you can break out that observer and then that dust, and then break out those two blocks. Put a temporary block there, hopper facing into it, and then crouch and place a hopper facing into that hopper. Now you can replace your 4-tick repeater, block, and then the 4-tick repeater. And then also you have to replace that now. There we go. So this hopper pulse extender here is used to make it so that the final like floor flattening bit for these quads here comes late enough. And to get in enough delay, you just need 8 items that you feel you can throw away. It can be any 8 items, and unfortunately I'm starting off with a weird stack size, so it's going to take a little while to split. Before you put them in, place a torch, 2 blocks, 1-tick repeater, and then you can place them into here. 8 items. Then a comparator, reading this hopper right here, and then just 2 observers for now, and I'll get onto that later. Now go over here, observer facing up, 2 in, block, 4-tick and a 2-tick, then get out your dust, block, observer facing in and up, up and in, dust there and there, 2-tick and a 4-tick, 2 blocks, dust on both of them, glass, dust, then block and 3 obsidian. Go down here, put down 3 blocks, 2 dust, 1 tick, block, dust, then glass, and a 1-tick repeater. Now once you've got that, when you flick your lever, you can see your quads extend now. And when you flick it once more, after the big delay from the pulse extender, you can see that they will retract to there. I think I forgot to replace the dust. Yeah. So the final retraction, or the secondary pulse for the retraction of the quads, will come later, because the front quads and the back quads are sort of interconnected, and let's quickly get on to the bit where they'll connect. Block there, 4-tick repeater, block up, 3 down, 4-tick and a 1-tick, dust, then a block with dust on it. This will connect on the other side to a similar setup, just like so, but I'll get onto that a little bit later. And you can mirror this to the other side as well. Block your 4-tick repeater, block up, 3 down, 1-tick and a 4-tick, dust. There we go. Now, before I get on to wiring these quads, I'm going to quickly wire up all of these extenders. Block up, 4-tick, block, and then 3 blocks down. You can actually have a block up, down, and up as well. 1-tick, 4-tick, and a 1-tick running into dust. Your torch with the 2 blocks down, although this time I'm going to actually remember the proper placement. Your hopper facing into that block, break it out, and then a hopper facing into that hopper. Now placing your 4-tick repeaters, observer facing up into dust, and then an 2 observers facing up into a block. You can take a repeater output from that dust into a block with dust on top of it, just like so. Go over here, observer facing in and up and in, 3-tick repeater and a 1-tick, dust there and there, 2 blocks, 2 obsidian, block there, dust on those 3, 2 glass, 2 dust, and then go over here, block, 2 blocks, dust, 4-tick, observer facing up and in, block, 1-tick repeater, then an observer facing towards the back of the door with 1-tick repeater. Then you can put a block there. Now once you've got that, you can mirror this to the other side. So block down, up, and 3 down, dust, 4-tick repeater and a 1-tick, then a 4-tick repeater there, block up, down, and up, then a 1-tick repeater, torch, 2 blocks, then your 2 4-tick repeaters, just like so. Observer facing in and up and in. 3-tick and a 1-tick, your 2 dust, block right there, dust on those 3, 2 glass, 2 dust, 2 blocks, and then 2 obsidian. Observer facing up into dust, and then 2 observers facing up into a block, and you can take a 4-tick repeater output into a block with dust from there for the floor flattening of your doubles. 3 blocks, dust, and then a 4-tick. Observer facing up and in, block, 1-tick repeater. Observer facing towards the back, 1-tick repeater, and then a block. I'm pretty sure that that is your back set of triples and doubles done. You can see the triples and doubles will all extend. And you flick the lever again. After the long pulse extender delay, they will all retract and the floor will flatten. Also, I forgot to replace that dust. So, replace that dust now. Now on to the quads. This side, put your sticky piston, redstone block, temporary block, and your 2 sticky pistons, redstone blocks, torch, 2 blocks, and then a 1-tick repeater. Then your observer facing up, 2 in, block, 2-tick and a 4-tick, running into dust and a block. Observer facing in and up and in, dust there and there, 2-tick and a 4-tick. Put block there and there. Let me quickly fix that. Dust there and there. Glass, dust, block, 3 obsidian. Put 3 blocks just like so. 2 dust, 1-tick repeater, block, and a dust. Again, the 1-tick repeater is because this line is retracting sooner than all of this will activate, allowing this chain of pistons to start pushing the quad before any of that happens. But of course, because we don't have the massive input delay of these 4-tick repeaters here, you have to have this 4-tick repeater here in order to, increase the delay. Then a 1-tick repeater. Go down here, block, 4-tick repeater, 3 blocks down and a block up, 4-tick repeater and a 1-tick, dust, block, and dust. And that is how your quads connect. It makes it so that these 1-tick repeaters both deactivate at the same time. Because this side deactivates sooner than the front, I was having sync issues that I didn't want because it looked a little dumb. So while I couldn't fix the triples, I was able to fix the final retraction of the quads, which I think looks better. Now onto this quad. Sticky piston, redstone block. Temporary block, sticky piston, redstone block. Observer facing up, 2 in, then block. A 4-tick repeater and a 2-tick. Block up, in, observer facing up and in, observer facing up and in. 2-tick and a 4-tick. Dust, glass, dust. 3 dust there. 2 blocks, 3 obsidian. Go over here, place 3 blocks, 2 dust, 1-tick repeater, block, and dust. Then a glass block with a 1-tick repeater. Go down here, 4-tick repeater, facing into a block, 4-tick repeater, dust, and then a 1-tick repeater right here. Now to get in the secondary pulse for your quads, observer facing up, then a squiggle of 4 blocks, 4-tick repeater running into a dust. Do the same thing on this side. And then you have to mirror this whole setup to the other side. There we go. So now once you have that, you flick your lever, you should see that your quads all extend. And when you flick it once more, after the long pulse extender delay, you can see that your quads will retract in perfect unison. And seeing as there's just some dents in the floor, now on to the floor flattening. You can get out another 8 blocks. This is probably going to be really inefficient. There we go. And put them into this hopper for now. Then a block, comparator, reading that hopper, then to observers, observer facing in and up. And this is the reason for the weird terracotta bit here. It's to make it so that while these are extending, if they go out of sync, this piston isn't there to be pushed all out of whack. And it also makes it a little bit easier for the floor flattening bits to be powered. Now you need to break out a little bit of floor for this. Put an observer facing down, out, and up into a sticky piston with an observer facing up on its face. And then you break your way over to here. Observer facing out, up, sticky piston with an observer facing up on its face. And then you can fill in everything that you might have had to break out. And now that you've done that, your back will have its floor flattened. The front is a bit different. So first of all, if I can get in there, this side looks pretty similar, but you need to have a chain of sticky pistons to start the extension of your quintuple here, and I'll do that before activating the door again. But over here, what you can do is have an observer facing into a piston facing down, then an observer facing that way, in, and then you need to get out of this area. Observer facing up into a sticky piston with an observer on its face. And this part you're going to need to break out a lot. First things first, break out that and that. Observer facing towards the front of the door, break out some flooring. Observer facing down. Then an observer facing in towards the middle of your door into a hopper. Then an observer facing up into a sticky piston with an observer facing up on its face. Then once you place in your comparator again, you can see it's all fired. And when I go out here, you can see it's all flattened. Although one thing that you need to add in is an observer facing towards the middle of the door, up, and then you can replace your sticky piston with the terracotta. And once you've got that, you can see it will all extend, and when you flick your lever once more, and I need to replace that, I think I might have misplaced. You can see it will all retract, and the floors will flatten. And one thing you need to replace is that, like so. Perfect. Now once you've gotten all this done, it's on to the quint. Go over here, put a piston facing up, torch, block, torch, 2 blocks, and then a repeater on 1 tick facing in there. Put a torch on the side of that block, 3 blocks, 3 repeaters, and then an obsidian there, and a piston facing into the obsidian, torch, and then a block. And the retraction logic of your quint is actually part of this. So first things first, break out these 3 blocks, then temporary block, piston facing up, break out the temporary block, then another temporary block and a piston facing up right there. I mistapped, there we are. Place obsidian on both of these, and fill in the hole, and put torches on the sides of both of them, just like so. This makes it so that when this piston is in that position, oops, let me quickly fix that, it will actually be able to be powered, it'll function, yada yada yada, you get the gist. So that's what this is for. It's to hard power that block. Go down here, place 2 blocks, then a block right there, 4-tick repeater and a 1-tick, an observer facing up and, oh, not there, observer facing up and in, then a 1-tick repeater. Then put a block right there, 4-tick repeater, and a 3-tick, dust, then an observer facing up and in right there, faced into a block, then a 1-tick repeater and a 4-tick repeater, dust. The reason that there's a 1-tick instead of usually there being like the longer pulses or longer delay repeaters being before. Like for example down here I have the 4-tick and then the 1-tick. The reason that it's the 1-tick and then the 4-tick is because there's no observers detecting anything. This is handled by an entirely different chain of redstone. so I have a bit more freedom with how I wire this up. Go over here, put a 4-tick repeater, then a glass block, dust, block, dust on top of that block, block right there, and then a 2-tick repeater there. Observer facing up and in, just like so. And that should be all the wiring for your quint set up. So when you give the lever a flick, you can see that the quint will extend, just like that. This is all I've forgotten, the final extension. And then, click it once more. You can see that after the long pulse extender delay, it will all retract, just like so. And one thing that you can add in right now is you can go down in here, just squeeze on through, then put an observer facing in, and then 3 up, just like so. That'll power this piston to flatten the floor, just like that. And so to get in this thing, put a glass block, dust, then a block right there, 2-tick repeater, observer faced into a block, and then a piston facing towards the middle of the door, and 2 observers just like so. The reason for this whole weird setup is we're trying to double pulse these pistons so that they stay extended just long enough for this piston to reliably get powered. So when I flip the lever, you can see it will all extend, and then the final extension will happen. It sort of pseudo spat out its block, and then flick the lever once more. After the really long pulse extender delay, you can see that it will all retract. The reason for this weird spammy bit is because these things refire, which causes the observer to power the piston, pulsing these a bunch of times. So the wiring for your final floor flattening bit actually brings me to a bit of a fix that you need to do. On all of the quads, move this glass block over to here. It can become a normal block as well when you do this. Just like so. There we go. The reason for this is some of the wiring for your like side wiring here is going to need this space later on. Go over to this block right here. You're going to need to break out that observer temporarily, and then put an observer facing down to this side and then up. You can replace that 1-tick repeater and that observer right there. One more observer facing up, and then take some blocks, place them there so you can take an output. 3 4-tick repeaters, then an observer facing up, 2 to the side, up, over, and then a 4-tick repeater running into a piston facing down. But before you place that in, you can actually put an observer there, break out some of this. You put your observers there, 4-tick repeater, observer facing up, then an obsidian block right there, 4-tick repeater, and an observer facing in. Now you can replace everything that you broke. There we go. And then have a piston facing down right there. And while it looks as sloppy as it is, it gets the job done. So as you can see, it all extends just fine. And when you flick the lever again, after the huge delay, it all retracts and the floor flattens. There we are. Now to get on to the wiring of your inner doubles. So go over here, piston facing in, torch, then block, 2 blocks, 2-tick repeater on that block, 2-tick there, 2 blocks, then a 4-tick repeater, as you can see there, on that block. Now you might need to break your way in for this. Put an observer facing up, and in, just like so. And I appear to be trapped, so you can either break your way out, or I'm going to use a pearl. There we are. Oh. Boom, I'm out. Then put 2 1-tick repeaters there, block 1-tick repeater, and then you can replace all of that. And I believe that is your inner double done. So when you click lever, you can see that everything will extend. Let's see. Oh yes, one last thing. You need to place a block right there, and that will extend it. And now flick your lever once more, and your inner double will retract. And after the big delay, everything else will retract, the floor will be flattened, and there you go. Your back inner double is a bit different. Sticky piston, redstone block, then a piston with a torch. It's wired similarly over here, 4-tick repeater with the observer facing up and in. If I can get in there. There we go. In. And then you can put a block there, there, there. 2 1-tick repeaters, and then dust all along there, just like so. And you can have a 1-tick repeater running into it, just like that. If you want to, for the sake of symmetry, you can do the exact same thing on the other side. But this does increase the price by a bit, so if you're doing this in survival, I wouldn't recommend doing it. Place 2 blocks there, get out your comparators, comparator there and there. Then get out a cauldron or just any container. Place pistons, 2 sticky pistons facing up there and there, your containers, and then fill them. Cauldrons, you fill them with water. Containers, you just fill them with items. And it can be any amount of items. Put blocks there, and then you can put dust there and there. To flatten the floor, you can simply take an output from here, have an observer facing in towards that piston, then a hopper, and then a comparator. You can replace your comparator. And once you have that, that is the wiring for the bottom of your door completely done. So yeah, that's it for part 1 of this tutorial. I'll be uploading part 2 very soon. I don't know when. The way that I'm having to do this is I'm having to screen record the entirety of the 1 hour 50-minute tutorial again, and then upload those screen recordings. It's kind of weird and janky how I'm doing it, but it works. So that's it for this part of the tutorial, and keep an eye out for the next one, which will, again, hopefully be uploaded soon.